5, we want to look at the hierarchy of court, the seniority per se. If I'm permitted to use that word, that's what they call hierarchy. The hem, the middle, the semi-middle, and the lowest. So there are orders. So just like you have seniority in life, so in the hierarchy of courts, there are seniorities, there are hierarchy of court and judicial president in Nigeria. So we are going to look at them at this session. The hierarchy of court and judicial precedence. One and the highest echelon in Nigerian court system is the Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court, the next is the Court of Appeal. After the Court of Appeal, you have the Federal High Court. Federal High Court has a coordinate jurisdiction with the State High Court. High Court is High Court. The only difference is that at the Federal High Court, they adjudicate on matters that relate to federal matters. Even though they are located in some state, within the state, but they adjudicate on matters that have to do with federal police, probably with an individual, federal FRS, an individual, or even a group at that level. Whereas states at the high court level, they are court that adjudicate on levels, on matters within the jurisdiction of that state. So we have the High Court, we have the customary Court of Appeal of a state, that the Sharia Court of Appeal of a state as it is obtained in the north. So it is important to note these sections. We look at the section 5, section 6, subsection 5 of 1999 Constitution that listed all these things. When you go through it, you have an understanding of the level. We are going to look at it little bit. The Supreme Court. The decision of the Supreme Court is final. After the Supreme Court, the only place you can go and appeal is God, if you can see him. So, in the Supreme Court, that is just abiding to all other courts in Nigeria, to which the common law doctrine of binding precedent applies. The doctrine does not apply to customary courts, either courts or Sharia Court of Appeal in principle, by virtue of the appellate system, whereby decisions of these courts can ultimately reach the Supreme Court, they shall follow the decisions of the Supreme Court. In terms of adhering to its own decisions, Supreme Court of Nigeria, in a matter by Group Photos Limited and Arnold versus Wemaback, adopted Ghana practice direction in respect of House of Law. In that case, the Supreme Court held that it will not depart from the president unless 3 conditions are prayed and satisfied. 1, that there is a breach of justice. 2, that it is on grounds of public policy. 3, that it is a question of legal principles such that the retention of the decision will amount to perpetual injustice. So these are only 3 conditions that can make the Supreme Court decision change. So it is only the Supreme Court that has the power to reverse itself. So and these are the 3 conditions as stated here. Related to the above principle, the Supreme Court held in Abu Karim versus Inca Nigeria Limited that although it will respect its previous decision as a court of last resort, which is not bound by precedent, the court will not hesitate to overrule any decision of its own which she is satisfied was reached on wrong principles, since this is the only way to keep the stream of justice pure. So it is only the Supreme Court that can overrule itself. So we look at the Court of Appeal. In Nigeria, there are no express provision in the Court of Appeal civil procedural rule over precedent. The practice adopted by the Court of Appeal in Nigeria is the practice in England, established in the case of Young versus Bristol Airline Company, which is to the effect that the Court of Appeal is bound by its previous decisions, subject to 3 important exceptions. There is always an exception to every rule. So these are they ought to be bound by their decisions, subject to this rule. One, the Court of Appeal is entitled and bound to decide which of these two conflicting decisions it will follow. Now, Court of Appeal, like in Nigerian jurisdiction, we have Court of Appeal at zonal level, southeast. For instance, we have in Enugu, we have Court of Appeal at I think Oka or thereabout, or there are so many courts of appeal in so many areas. So this Court of Appeal, when a Court of Appeal has given a judgment over a matter, the coordinate Court of Appeal is not expected to give a judgment on that same matter because they are operating at the same level. Instead, the matter or the resolution at that point can be appealed to the Supreme that has an overriding judiciary over all of them, power over all of them. So it is important that these hierarchies are maintained. But in a situation where a judgment has been given at that level, it can be revised by them under these conditions, these exceptions. So that one, the Court of Appeal is entitled and bound to decide which of these two conflicting decisions it will follow. Very, very important. The Court of Appeal is not bound to follow a decision of its own if it was given by inquiry. That is, where a status or rule having statutory effect which will have affected a decision was not brought to the attention of the court. So the judgment was given in an error. So at that point, they can reverse such a judgment. So in the case of Osam Made versus Aldo, where the West African Court of Appeal, which until its abolition in 1955 occupied a corresponding position in Nigeria judiciary hierarchy, and that occupied at the moment by the Court of Appeal, adopted the approach of English Court of Appeal. Therefore, in criminal matters, English Court of Appeal is very reluctant to depart from its own previous rulings, though it does not regard itself bound by them, but will refuse to apply anyone which it considers to be wrong. So you can go ahead and see the reason why they are against for that. Let's go to the next court. Now, the next court we want to look at is the Federal High Court. I've already explained them that we have Federal High Court, we have State High Court. The court was formerly known as Federal Revenue Court, but later it was converted to Federal High Court. The decision of the Federal High Court binds all magistrate district courts in Nigeria. The Federal High Court is in turn bound by judgments and precedent of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. That is how they operate. So, but in State High Court, the State High Court, the High Court of the state and the High Court of the federal capital are coordinate jurisdiction according to the decision of High Court. Accordingly, the decision of High Court is only persuasive to another High Court. I've already said that. So they can only persuade. They don't have overriding power over another High Court. So it's only persuasive. So in Barclays Bank versus Assam, it was said that a judge of High Court does not feel himself bound by his own decision or by those of other judges of coordinate jurisdiction. So that is it. We have customary court of appeal or Sharia court, as the case may be, according to section 2821 of 1999's Constitution. The customary court of appeal of a state exercises appellate and supervisory jurisdiction in civil proceedings, including questions or issues emanating from customary laws. So, like in the southern parts of the country, we have customary court of appeal, whereas in the northern part of the country, we have Sharia court of appeal. Some, anyway, have Sharia court of appeal. So they are the highest court, that handles anything that has to do with custom of the people. For example, in Obaseke JC, he said But it defines customary law as the organic or living law of the indigenous people of Nigeria, regulating their life transactions. So it is organic in the sense that it is the one that touches the common person within their jurisdiction. So according to section 2771, subsection 1 of 1999 Constitution, the Sharia Court of Appeal of a state exactly such appellant and supervisory jurisdiction in civil proceedings, including questions of Islamic personal law, which the court is competent to decide. Islamic law are laws that are in accordance with Islamic faith. So there are people that subscribe to this law in Nigeria. So this law is takes care of their issues. So the next slide. So I want to look at the principles of judicial president. I think at this point, it's very, very important that we look at this under this heading. To what extent are lower courts bound by the decision of high courts? Lower courts are bound to follow the decision of superior courts unless the decisions can successfully distinguish between the facts of the case. That's the ratio descending. That's the reasoning of the judgment. Force a binding precedent, while the obiter statements made in the passing constitute persuasive authority. So it's well understood that these are the only two reasons where these principles can be applied. Now, the decision of a court of ordinary jurisdiction is of persuasive effect. Persuasion is not an order. You are persuaded, you can leave. If they are persuaded, as long as they have the same bracket in the hierarchy of courts. Whereas a higher court gives an order which must be obeyed. So that is how it is. So finally, the special courts for certain legal areas. There are special courts, in Nigerian legal system. These are special courts for certain legal areas, and they are, for instance, the National Industrial Court. It is a court empowered to adjudicate trade disputes and labor practices. The court martial. These are some of the things we hear when we are talking of military misbehavior within the armed forces. They are court martials. These courts, these special courts, when they give their judgment, they only can be appealed to the highest court, the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court still oversees whatever that is happening within those coronary courts. Then we have what we call coronary court. This is a special court of inquest and not a trial. For instance, we had the case of when some houses collapsed, one building collapsed in Lagos. You constitute such a court to look at these issues and to find lasting solutions to bring about public order in that particular place. We have juvenile courts. Juvenile courts are special courts that are made to look at juvenile matters, people that are underage. These juvenile courts, they have some specifics at the levels of the people they handle. The courts are established for trial of young persons who are less than 18 years, the legal age, and that are alleged to have committed crime. In summary, it can be seen that legal reasoning in judicial process is basically tailored towards the attainment of justice. That's the aim, the basic. The concept of justice in common sense means what is fair or just. The language, personal interests, social cultural background, job satisfaction, and self-discipline of the judge to defend at all costs the independence of the judiciary in order to do justice to all manner of persons are some of the factors that shape legal reasoning in judicial process. The application of doctrine of precedent and all that we've studied here, they are very, very important, and generally the cause that made precedent can adapt from his previous, can depart or adapt from his previous judgment based on justice, public policy, to avoid conflicts and make sure that justice and law of justice is done to all manner of persons. Thank you.